Hello, this is Melissa, your insurance exam queen here, and we are doing a video on violations, penalties, and hearings when it comes to the state regulations chapter or common to all lines chapter of your exam. We are here on this channel to help make sure that you pass your exam with ease and confidence. Before we jump into violations, hearings, and penalties, I would like to ask you to please subscribe to the channel. Helps me out as a YouTube content creator. Like this video if it helps you understand what you're reading in your text. And additionally, you can check out more study resources available at insuranceexamqueen.com, as well as we have a Facebook group that you can join for help with your studies. So let's talk about this section. So what's most important with this section is this is a state specific section, and it is and it isn't. One is that when you go back, if you haven't watched it yet, go back and watch the video on the commissioner, the director of insurance. They're the person who's basically in charge of insurance in your state. When that person believes that you are doing something against the insurance laws of your state or against the insurance code of your state, then in order to take away your license or to punish you, then they have to take you to court. They hold hearings. And this is true for everybody, right? They have a violation that they write you up for violation. So like, let's say, for instance, insurance applications are supposed to be, let's say, a correction to the application. This is more specific to life and health, but you fill out an application with the customer, there's an error, you're supposed to have the customer sign it. Let's say you sign it, and that the commissioner is hearing that you keep signing for the customer instead of allowing the customer to sign. So he's going to write up a violation that say you are incorrectly signing policies, you're not having the customer sign when they're supposed to sign. So he's going to write up a violation. Then he's going to take you to court, and the court is going to figure out if you're guilty of this or not. And then if you are guilty of it, you'll have whatever penalty and fine. They could take away your license, they could charge you money, they can do all kinds of things. And that is true for everybody. What is different and state specific that you would need to dig into your state specific text for is all the dates around hearings. So there's usually like, when must he notify you? How quickly are you allowed to request a hearing? What about a retrial or a rehearing? How many days must you respond to a notice of a hearing? Things like that. Every state is kind of different into what they focus on. Now, there's going to be a lot of numbers here. And what I would encourage you to do is pick the most common number and just remember that. So like, if it's like you get 30 days for this, 15 days for that, 30 days for this, 30 days for that, your most common number is 30 days. So you take the test, and any question they have about hearings or violations, you choose 30 days. Then there's going to be a whole section about penalties and fines. And again, this could be state specific. It could be a $200 fine, could be a $5,000 fine, could be $5,000 per violation, up to $25,000 total. There's lots of different numbers that you can see for fines. Again, the more tested this chapter is, the more important it is to know these numbers. The less tested it is, it's not as important. But because there's so many numbers involved, again, try to pick the most common number. So like, if you're reading a list and it's got fine, and they're all different numbers, what's the most common number that you see? Pick that number, memorize that number. And if you get a question on the test about a fee and a fine, just choose that number. Could be right or wrong, but you're more likely to be right if you're picking the most common number. So when it comes to, and one big thing too about hearings is typically a question on the exam is, when can the commissioner take away your license? And it's usually after a hearing has been held. So he can't usually just take it away arbitrarily. He has to take you to court. There has to be a hearing. We have to prove that you are indeed guilty of whatever your violations are. And then he's able to take away your license. So again, this can be very state specific chapter, where you've got a lot of numbers, 30 days for this, 15 days for that, 20 days to respond, 10 business days, 30 business days, lots of numbers in this section. Try to remember as many as you can, especially again, if this is highly tested. And you can search, I have other videos on my YouTube that will tell you how to find the percentage. So some of you are in states where, like Arizona, it's only like 10% of the exam. It's like hardly any at all. Then some of you are in states like in Montana, where it's over 30% of the exam for state law, or Maryland or Wisconsin. Those are heavy state law ones. Rhode Island is another one. So it just depends on how The more heavily tested this chapter is, the more you should try to remember as many numbers as you can. The less tested it is, the less important it is for you to try to remember all of these numbers. But key point takeaway here, if you violate the insurance code, they write up a statement of violations, they take you to court, and if you're guilty, they then punish you with the fees and the fines that are written by law. Now, the commissioner, that's another testable point, the commissioner doesn't set the fees or the fines. He's only allowed to use the ones that are already established by law. So he can't just arbitrarily say, you're guilty, I'm going to make you pay $10,000. He has to attach it to a law that's already in existence, and then he is able to do that. So this is Melissa, your insurance exam queen. Again, subscribe to this channel, like this video, check us out at insuranceexamqueen.com for longer in-depth videos that can help you pass. And I am sending you all the loves and all the vibes to pass your exam. Have an amazing day.